There's something beautiful about getting older. We start to see things differently. The things that once seemed important, money, recognition, pride, fade in comparison to something deeper, connection. And at the heart of that connection, for many of us, is the person who's walked beside us through decades of change, struggle, and joy, our spouse. Welcome to Intergenerational Connection, a space where we reflect on the stories of life, the lessons we've learned, and the wisdom we can pass on. This is a place for you, my dear friend, whether you're 60, 70, or even 90, because your story matters. And today we're going to talk about something we rarely say out loud, but we all feel: how words can either build or break the most precious bond we have in this life, our marriage. You see, I've been married for over 45 years. I've lived through the cold shoulders, the silent treatments, the slammed doors, but I've also experienced the warm hands held during doctor visits, the quiet coffee mornings, and the sacred, irreplaceable feeling of waking up next to someone who knows your entire story. And through it all, I've learned that happiness in old age doesn't come from having a perfect spouse. It comes from knowing what not to say. Let me tell you about three words, or rather three types of words, that can quietly poison a relationship if we're not careful. These aren't grand betrayals or earth-shaking scandals. No, these are soft daggers, the things we say without thinking, the things that stick in a heart long after we forget we ever said them. The first one, words that dishonor the parents of your spouse. It may seem trivial at first. Maybe his mother was too involved, or her father too cold. Maybe they weren't the in-laws you dreamed of. But let me share a story, one I hold close to my heart. There was a man in our town named Mr. Hotch, a good man. He worked his whole life as a bus driver and raised three sons. The youngest, Tom, married a woman who, well, let's just say never thought much of him, or his father. She'd roll her eyes whenever Mr. Hotch came by. She'd make comments like, "No wonder you're like this, with a father like that." At first, Tom brushed it off, but after years of small comments, the pain settled in his bones. One day, after a family dinner, Mr. Hotch went home quietly, sat on his old couch, and cried. He told his wife, "I feel like a stranger in my own son's home." That home never felt warm again. Tom stopped inviting his parents over. His children barely knew their grandfather, and though Tom loved his wife, something between them fractured, something invisible but irreversible. You see, when you insult your partner's parents, you don't just criticize two old people, you strike at their roots. You deny their history. And in marriage, where we're supposed to become one, denying their roots is like chopping down your own family tree. Even if you have frustrations, and trust me, we all do, choose silence or gentleness. Say, "I know your father meant well, even if I didn't understand him." Because respect is not just for the dead. It's for the living bonds we choose to protect. The second forbidden phrase, "Let's get divorced." Now, I know that sometimes those words come out in a moment of anger. Maybe you were tired, maybe you felt unappreciated, maybe you didn't really mean it. But here's what I've seen over and over again. The word divorce is like a fire alarm in a house with no fire. It causes panic, fear, and damage long after it's turned off. There was a couple we used to know, Henry and Merkel. They were married for 38 years. But they fought constantly, not over big things, mind you, little things. He forgot to take out the trash, she made fun of his hearing aid, petty, everyday things. One night, in a moment of heated frustration, Merkel said, "Maybe we should just get divorced." Henry didn't respond. He just went upstairs, packed a bag, left. Just like that, they filed the papers 2 months later, and then life moved on, but it didn't. A year later, I saw Henry sitting alone at the diner. I asked how he was doing. He looked up, eyes full of tears, and said, "I thought she'd chase after me. She didn't. And now, I miss her every day." Sometimes divorce is necessary. I won't deny that. But if you're still in love, if there's still kindness buried under the dust of years, don't use the word divorce as a weapon, because words once said can't be unsaid, and the wound they leave might be too deep to heal. The last forbidden words, sarcasm, mockery, or belittlement. Now this one's tricky because we often hide behind humor. We say, "I was just joking," or I didn't mean it. But a joke that stings isn't funny. It's a tiny hammer to the heart. Take the story of John and Mary. John was witty, sharp-tongued, and always had a comeback. When Mary forgot where she put her glasses, He'd say, "Of course you did. Your brain's been on vacation since '98." People laughed. Mary didn't. When she tried a new recipe, he'd say, "Is this food or punishment?" Again, folks chuckled. Mary smiled, but inside she broke piece by piece. One day she left, just packed her things, left a note that read, "I need to be around someone who lifts me, not laughs at me." John didn't understand at first, but months later he told me, "I thought I was being funny. Turns out I was being cruel." Your spouse is not your enemy, not your punchline, not the character in your stand-up act. They're your partner, your mirror, your safe space. Treat their heart like fragile glass. Handle with care. If you've made these mistakes, it's okay. We all have. I've said things I regret, but it's never too late to apologize, to change, to speak life instead of harm. Because in the end, happiness in old age isn't about cruises or golf or big family reunions. It's about the peace that comes from knowing you've loved well, that you've chosen your words with tenderness, that you've protected your partner, even from your own tongue. So let us remember, don't dishonor their parents. They made the person you love. Don't say divorce in vain. Some doors, once closed, stay closed. Don't mock the one who has seen you at your worst and still stayed. Instead, speak kindly, speak gently, speak love. And that, my friend, is the true secret to a happy old age. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this story touched your heart, I hope you'll join us again. Subscribe to our channel, Intergenerational Connection, where stories like this are shared with love for people just like you. Give this video a like if you believe in second chances, in lasting love, and in the quiet beauty of growing old together. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, may you have a beautiful day, and may God bless you always.